Hello, my hearties. A very good evening to you. It's just me, Scottie McClue, and we are, of course, live on the big one. Welcome, 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 I'd say. Saturday night, 9 o'clock, nothing gets past me. And here we all are together again. This is just amazing. I absolutely love it. Well done, guys. Super stuff, I say to you. Now then, who have we got here? Always tell us where you're watching from. Very interesting. And we'll open the phones, of course, very soon. We can open the phones, but I want sensible calls, not silly people. Otherwise, we will just close the phones again. So there we are, watching from Glasgow. And lovely to have you with us. Good evening, all, says Tupser. Hey, DINKY-DOO, says Kareem. Kareem, lovely to have you with us. Good evening, says Susan. Welcome, welcome, Susan. Good evening, Scottie, and good evening to you, Susan. I tell you, how's it going? Says the wonderful Murray MacDonald. DINKY-DOO. Murray MacDonald. Murray O'Donnell. I think that's wonderful. So there's all sorts of wonderful derivations there, Murray. I can tell you, DINKY-DOO. Now, here we got Matthew's just joined us. DINKY-DOO says Carbolic77. He's with us. That is just amazing. Tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10. Murray, how are you? So there we are. I thought I'd just run the McDonald's and O'Donnell's and O'Donnell through you there and see what you thought. DINKY-DOO, everyone, says the wonderful David Taylor from Greenock. Dodsey from the Isle of Man is giving me red roses. Guys, we never, ever ask for anything. But on the TikTok, there's a little goal right there. If anybody's feeling flush, you could put in a little family heart or a red rose, I tell you. Lionel, DINKY-DOO, lovely to have you with us. Hiya, says Rowan. Hi, Rowan. Lovely to have you with us. Murray O'Donnell, what are you doing? You're very, 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 very kind man. The guy, Murray O'Donnell, must have given McClue millions over the years. You know, one of my greatest supporters, not just in terms of quality, but also very, very, very kind to me in terms of financial terms, when we didn't have anything. Otherwise, tonight would never have happened without Mr. O'Donnell. There you go, Murray. Now you know. I tell you, David Taylor is giving you a huge round of applause, and so are all of us. There we are. We have to give you silent applause, Murray, just in case it damages the microphone. I used to fall asleep to your Scott FM show. Yes, I had that effect. Murray is a diamond, says Carbolic. He is indeed. Used to fall asleep to Scott FM show on many a walk when I was at high school. On my walk, my goodness me, I tell you, ta-ha, DINKY-DOO, just a chill. Wonderful stuff. We like that. Well done, Murray, says Kareem. All good, my good fellow. Murray, you're a wonderful, wonderful man, though. You really are. You're an outstanding man. I tell you. I'm going to call in from Florida, Scottie. Michael, call in from Florida. Scottish pledged to give a free Cadillac. No, I haven't pledged anything to the first caller from the USA. Actually, it might have been me that pledged it. Oh, it might have been Tups. I think the wonderful Tups were here. I can only apologize for the state of the phones last week. We did find out what was causing all that ringing and ringing and ringing. It should just be one call at a time, I say. Murray, thank you again. That is so kind of you. Oh my goodness me. I don't know what to say. I just can't thank you enough. I think that's the way life goes. I can't thank you enough. How amazing is that? Guys, remember to get on to Glasgow Essentials on Facebook and follow the page. We need about 5,000 followers right now. We've already got 5,500, I think. But we need another 5,000, pretty sharpish. And that's just in about 4 or 5 weeks. So that's pretty good stuff. Facebook page at Glasgow Essentials. Get liking, please, and following. And it's all to do with Glasgow. So there we are. So if you've got some connection, no matter where you are in the world, if you are part of the diaspora, diaspora. There we go. I tell you, how does one pronounce it? Oh, whisht, says Murray. No, Murray, I will not whisht. I will not whisht. I will not whisht. Do you remember, Murray, the £1 million note? A absolutely superb movie, very funny. And the guy had £1 million note from two old bankers. And of course, nobody could cash it, but they knew he was worth £1 million, so they were all sort of pandering to him. And there was an old gentleman at the end, and the doorman at the hotel said to the old gentleman, "I should nip round the back if I were you, sir." You see, and he went, "I do not nip. I do not nip." I tell you, Scotty's clearly hinting for £1 million, Murray. Run now, says Topsway. Oh, absolutely. No, I would never do that. The interesting thing about me is I've only got an interest in money as in what can it buy for other people. You know, that's the thing. I am a man of very modest means, and of course had to recover halfway through my life. So there we are. So no. Somebody's money is their own. But as we say, I can remember talking to my father, and I said I was chatting to so-and-so today. I said he's a multi-millionaire. My father said, "Well, you can only wear one suit." And so there we go. Good evening, Scotty. Susan, how lovely to have you with us, and a big dinky-do, I say to you. That is fantastic. I'm just thinking, how do we like that for you, buddy? There we go. Wonderful. So the phone should be sorted out, and we will take some calls at some point. But, you know, we're not having the carry-on we had last week when it was just ringing and ringing and ringing and redialing and redialing and redialing. Good evening. Absolutely, a very good evening to you. Marie has just joined us. Welcome, Marie. Lovely to have you with us, I tell you. Now, who have we got here? Alan's liked the live. Thank you, Alan. Very important, guys. Cameron's know the dog. So there you are. Now, what have we got? Did you see that Scotland won the Calcutta Cup at Murrayfield and we beat Wales away 26-23 today? Dodsey. I certainly did see that. And I thought, wow! You know, it's wonderful stuff. Dinky-Doo, says Michael. The wonderful Michael. 2093. Michael, you're well ahead of your time there. And a big dinky-do to you. Robert. Yes, I think you could say that about most political parties, Robert. So there we go. I don't think we single one out. And of course, we're not really political on here. That's what's like. Thank you guys for liking the live. So there we are. There's a gentleman who says he looks like a right wino. You probably do. Are you very red in the face, or what is it? Scottie McClue's a legend. I tell you. Hello from California. Evening from Meldrum. That's a fantastic hat you've got there. Do you like it? I tell you. Paisley, Scotty, you're from Paisley. We've uploaded new videos to the Facebook page at Glasgow Essentials. So, guys, every single one of you, onto Facebook, if you can access Facebook, at Glasgow Essentials, get following, big style. There we are. I have no time for this. Oh, there's another one new follower and one new follower and one. I know you get asked to follow everything, but this is big. This is Glasgow. Yes, the finest city in the world. So there you have it. Professor Numpty Head, talking of fine cities. Numpty Head's from Edinburgh. Where would we be without humour, I say? Edinburgh? Oh, no, Numpty Head, joking, Numpty Head. But do come and see us and tell us what is what. We would appreciate that. I can tell you. And it's time we had a call. Scotty, what's the chance of the wee dafties calling in tonight, says David? Well, there is a chance the phones are open, but I think they've learned their lesson, that they're dealing with pure gold here. And this is not for wee dafties, it's for intelligent people, including intelligent young people. And they can phone Scottie McClue and have a chat, not just ring and I mean, what kind of intelligence is that? I ask you. What tartan's that in your cap? Is it Black Watch? Yes, that's a Black Watch tartan. And I think the Argyle's kilt is the Black Watch. David says, bring back the birch. Now, the birch was interesting. The birch was a piece of birchwood, a birch branch that the police used to carry. And if somebody cheeked up to them, they took them up a close and gave them a thrashing, right? A birching, not a leathering, because they didn't have a leather. It was a birching. And then the young person thought, not a good idea. I've actually spoken to people on phone-ins who used to go to the Isle of Man after the birch was banned in the UK. And they went to the Isle of Man. The birch was still in use. I don't know if it still is. And the police gave them a birching if they were drunk and misbehaving and cheeking up. And these so-called auditor things, they're not auditors. I mean, auditors are proper senior accountants, but these people that cheek up to police, well, you're standing on your oath, and you're an officer of the law, all that stuff, they would well do with a birching just for cheeking up to the police. They go filming police stations, the police come out and go, what do you think you're doing? And it's nothing to do with you, because they know they can film in public, but then they start cheeking up to the police. And that's when I think maybe you've got a point, David. The birch might just sober some people up. I tell you, very, very quickly, a good birching. But I can remember hearing as a young person, people used to tell you about the birch, and you never wanted a birching off a policeman. There's probably a big thing in Glasgow at the time. I shall look into the history of it for you and let you know what is what. I say to you, who are you? Says Darren. I'm fine, Darren. Who is yourself? Are you keeping well? Wonderful stuff. If you don't know Scottie McClue, Darren, maybe you should, I don't know, check with your GP. Most people, 2 billion people know Scottie McClue, but then that means 6 billion don't. So, it could be. I tell you. Now, what have we got here? Do you follow the Six Nations? Dodsey, I used to play rugby, tight head prop, down first, bob, and all that sort of stuff. And I would go to Murrayfield as a youngster. I met a lot of the internationalists. Wonderful stuff. Blake, we don't need to hear about your private life on here. So what we'll do with Blake is, in fact, we'll just block Blake, actually. Blake's gone. Guys, Blake's gone, just to say, if anybody loved Blake, he's gone. He's telling us about his own proclivities. And I don't really think anybody's interested. So there you go. DINKY-DOO, Lord Scottie of Scotland. How are you doing tonight, sir? Scotmass. Always pleased to see you. And thank you very much for that. Very much appreciated. I say to you. I mind you, on the radio years ago, says the wonderful David King. Absolutely, David. It was the thing. Now, what have we got here? Kieran's joined us. Yes, correct, says Dodsey. Absolutely, Dodsey. Is it still going? The bitch on the Isle of Man. It's no longer allowed now, says Dodsey. Pity some young kids nowadays could do with a good scalp. Yeah, well, that was the thing. And of course, they brought in laws to ban any violence to young people. But I think with the likes of the police, it sobered them up, because we hired the police, the peelers, called after Peel. Yes. Imagine spending your life becoming that stone guy. No, that stone guy. I've spent my life becoming huge things. This is for other people. This is for you. So imagine spending your life becoming this. I think you mean up the way, because this is a huge privilege for me to be talking to the people. There's a lady that fancies me there, calling me Hun. Hi, Hun. Lovely to see you there. I tell you, Scotty, a land of people. There we are, your age, and you taught my age respect. Well, yes, Del Boy, respect and manners, and then we don't need the birch. Hi there, what happened to the land taken from the crofters years ago? Well, Robin, I think a lot of them have got it back, community crofting and what have you. There we are, but it should be given back. I'm 44 and learned of Scottish age and respect for my teachers. Del Boy, amazing, absolutely amazing, I tell you. Guys, get sharing this, get watching the videos. Correction, 1976. Oh, wow. Is there a point to this? Says only fascist. Only fascist. Of course, there's a point to this. Because as long as people like you are out there, you need people like me to balance you. So, of course, there's a point to this. Don't be ridiculous. My goodness me. Scotty boy, a shout out to Mags from the wee port. We love the wee port. Did you see I did a program from the port? Stopped off. I just got a new phone. I didn't know how to put it off. And people were over offering to hold the phone for me and what have you. Hi, Scotty, says Broonbreed. Broonbreed, how lovely to have you with us. And welcome, welcome, welcome. We love the port, says Mags. We do, Mags. We love the port. It's absolutely incredible. Now, who else have we got here? Broonbreed, I hope you're well. I know you had some challenges health-wise, but you bear them with remarkable fortitude, if I may be allowed to say. I tell you. Hi, how are we doing? Dinky-Doo, lovely to have you with us, guys. See when you come on, tell us where you're watching from, but tell us where you're really watching from, okay? Thank you for following, guys. Everybody should follow Scottie McClue. If you've got access to Facebook, go on to @Glasgow Essentials. You love wee funny bunnets, don't you? I do, Still Gamer. I do, absolutely. And in fact, apparently I was the original inspiration for Still Game with the bunnet on and everything. Watching from the D family from, where's that? Sabraz, I'll tell you, Dad's Army. We love Dad's Army. Lol, really? Wow, absolutely. Yes, apparently so. They confirmed it, the Still Game people confirmed it. Oh, Scottie McClue. Oh, yes. I would love a wee cameo role in it. I don't know if they're still making it, I tell you, but they're very, very good. You could have an extra character. Shame it didn't happen. Well, I thought I could see myself standing at the bar, at the Klansman. You're live on Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
DINKY-DOO, it's Kareem, Scotty. How are we?
Kareem, how kind of you to ring. Lovely to hear from you.
Hello, Scotty. I'm well, thank you.
Kareem, I'm glad I got all that sorted out, and apologies to you for last week, that ringing and ringing and ringing.
Listen, gremlins, whenever there's any technology, I've just bought a brand new phone this week, so I'm getting my head around a lot of the stuff as well. So whenever there's any new technology, it's always just getting used to it, isn't it?
Well, my phones get so hard work because of the new Glasgow Essentials, which I believe you've seen.
Yes.
And yes. Boy, is that doing, but we need everyone following it, because in about 3 months' time, we'll probably be going live,
Yeah, no, I think that the build up to that will be very exciting as well. As you always say, tell 10 to tell 10.
Tell 10 to tell 10. And I mean, we popped up Lord Roberts on his horse yesterday.
Yes.
Just yesterday afternoon, just popped round to the park, because that was a big saying, Kareem. If somebody said, do you have a Phillips screwdriver? No, but I've got a picture of Lord Roberts on his horse. That was a sort of fun saying all over the UK. And I had an old actor had come up to do a show in Glasgow. And I said, well, come and stop at mine then. We'll set you up. You've got plenty of room. And I said to him on the Sunday, would you like to see Lord Robertson, his horse? And he went, tell me more. And I took him to see it, and he was just blown away,
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Well, Scottie, not to go into detail.
Right.
But a lot of the media just now, and I know you're quite passionate about this, not obviously for things that have been happening, but not to go into detail about it, but they're saying this is now the start and the end of the monarchy. What are your thoughts on that at all?
Well, I think there is a movement afoot to bring down the monarchy. And this has been always the case. The monarchy's always been on varying degrees of a sugary nail. And I think the last Queen Elizabeth, because she was so young when she ascended the throne, because she was so young, she really made an impact after the Second World War, because people were just feeling so down and the country was virtually bankrupt. How politicians don't learn that war will bankrupt you. It will make the very, very, very wealthy even wealthier by selling armaments and fighting, but it will bankrupt the country. And as a politician, it'll put you in charge of nothing.
Well, with a policy regarding that, Scottie, it means that you always need to be at war somewhere in the world in order to make that money. It's disgusting.
So there is, again, a strong movement afoot, but a lot of the people shouting for the monarchy to be brought down don't understand it. They have virtually zero knowledge and understanding of how the monarchy works. Now, at the moment, they're fixated on individual members of the royal family. They're fixated on that. How's the king reacting? How's this one reacting? How's that one reacting? The monarchy, the crown is not about individuals. The individual sitting on the throne is the curator and custodian of the crown. The crown is our symbol of authority. As you know, the crowns, Scotland took over the English crown in 1603. Mary, Queen of Scots' son, who was baptized Catholic and then baptized Protestant, he was the dual crown holder, the first one of holding both crowns. But Westminster being Westminster, they've chipped away at Scotland's influence, saying, no, the crown's an English thing. The royal family themselves have made errors in speeches and things by saying they're the King of England or the Queen's the Queen of England. Yeah? So that doesn't go down well in Scotland. And just today, I thought, if, for instance, the time is up for the Windsors, never ever think about doing away with the crown until everybody has the knowledge, because it's apolitical. It's a power superior to politics. Yeah. And it also represents a power superior to mankind. Yeah. So it's getting up there. And in Scotland, as you know, 1306 wrote to the Pope, 1306, Robert the Bruce crowned King of Scotland. And then, and that was about the modern monarchy in Scotland was about 300 or 400 years old by that time. And then 1320, the aristocrats, the Declaration of Arbroath, writing to His Holiness the Pope and saying, do you mind if we as Scots choose our own king? Now, it might be an idea, Kareem, to say, well, okay, two birds, one stone. I've always said you can split the parliaments, but you should never split the crown. But perhaps is it time for the Scottish crown to re-emerge? brought in by the Scottish people, because virtually everybody can read and write now.
Yeah. Right.
Now, there's a guy saying Charlie is doing a great job, then King Billy will continue. Now, King Billy was a dreadful, dreadful, dreadful man. If you think there's stuff going on now, you know, King Billy would just have absolutely shocked the world if the news had been around at the time and started digging. So you've got to say, okay, what's happening with the crown? What do we do about it? We certainly don't abolish it, but I can see changes coming. You see, America doesn't like the power of the crown because they've been exercising it on America for years. So America's been dancing to the empirical tune. And Mr. Trump is not keen on that at all. You know, he's a Republican, but he will also know that after the American War of Independence, Bonnie, Prince Charles Edward Stuart, yes, the son of James II, or grandson of James II, the Young Pretender, 1746, America wanted him after 1776 to be their king. So America is kind of if you put to the Americans, would you like a king? You know, they might say they didn't want the Hanoverians, who were the forerunners of the Saxe-Coburgs, and that became Windsor. So they didn't want that succession, but they were very keen on the Jacobean succession. But Charlie was too old at the time, Kareem, and he'd been drinking. He wasn't well.
Could you imagine if that was the case, it did happen, and how the direction of America could be very different today if they did go down?
Oh, yes. I mean, Mr. Trump would have to speak to the king, the descendants of Bonnie Prince Charlie, but I don't think he had kids.
Right, okay.
You know, but there is a line of succession when you dig deeply enough. There is a line of succession. Now, the Scottish crown was different. The English crown, or the crown, since 1603, has a reputation for taking everyone's money and saying all that goes to the king. And it hasn't really been helped by the way the Crown Estates have been taking money off people for moorings for boats and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's not gone down too well. But I think if you started delivering a degree of money back to the people and saying, no, we're going to cut down on all this taxation thing. The king lives well, but the king doesn't take, and the present king doesn't take. The present king brings in billions, you know, and again, people don't realize that. So you'll find, Kareem, that the people who want rid of the monarchy, I mean, at the moment, some of the personnel are not looking too healthy. You know what I mean? There's Ian saying, what did King Billy do that offends you? King Billy didn't do anything to me, but he did some terrible things to other people in his private life that would offend you. So there we are. I've said for years the Arms Lords should really, if the truth came out about King Billy, they should think about taking him off their banners. Now, he was a Dutchman, you see, but he was married to James II's daughter. And when he came in, what was interesting about that, Kareem, as you'll well know, so-called the Glorious Revolution, 1688, what they did, they said to the king, listen, just to let you know that you're not going to be in charge, Parliament's going to be in charge. You know, Parliament's going to be in charge, after the old Charles I, Charles II. See, they tried getting rid of the monarchy by executing the king. And then they had to bring it back. You know, they had to bring it back because the country, and it was cowards that executed the king. Absolute cowards. And even today, if you look at the clock at St. James, there's a black mark on it at 2 o'clock. And that's when they hanged the king. And the saying is, he nothing common did or mean upon that memorable scene. And he asked if he could wear 2 shirts because he didn't want to be seen shivering with the cold in case people thought it was fear.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
You know, so that was him. Zero Cool saying they never hanged him. Well, they executed him. So what did they do? Behead him. You know, but it has the same effect, believe it or not. So from that point of view, there's a lot to be looked at and what will stand scrutiny.
Yeah. See, you were saying about putting money back in. A suggestion that I would like, and you'll know it yourself, Scottie, going up and down Scotland, the amount of abandoned castles or big mansions, you know, if they could be renovated, they're not putting them into tourism, you know, it would just give so much back.
The UK brings in well over 200 billion in tourism. So that's not to be sneezed at, you know. So don't necessarily listen to what the politicians are telling you because they're suiting themselves. Yeah. And the news has got so depressing, people are switching off in droves. They put it on, oh, another disaster, oh, so-and-so has been killed. Oh, and you say, hang on, what about all the wonderful things that are happening as well? Let's hear about that, but they won't do it. So you've got that. So the media's kind of out the game now. You know, they're kind of losing the plot and the people are on to them, you know? So so what you've got there now, you were asking about the places needing renovated. Of course, all these castles, but I think Westminster should pay for, so under reparation of damages for Culloden, for Linlithgow Palace to be completely renovated.
Yes, that'd be lovely.
It was set on fire. It was sacked just before Culloden by the king's brother, the Duke of Cumberland, who was called Stinking Billy. So there we are. So Ian's saying, so why do people admire him in Scotland and Northern Ireland, King Billy? Ian, they admire him because he had victory at the Battle of the Boyne in 1690 at the River Boyne over James II's forces. So we didn't get a Catholic on the throne. That's why they admired King Billy. But in those days, the media wouldn't be digging into his private life, which was simply disgusting. So there you go. That's as far as I'm going with that one. But yeah.
If they're really that desperate to know, Scottie, they can do a wee Google search.
They can do a wee search themselves and find out. And I think you'd find King Billy would just be wiped from history pretty sharpish. So there we are. But we're talking, I mean, I had a guy the other day on social media, and he said that Buchanan Street was named after a Lord Provost of Glasgow. And he said, but he also had links with slavery. So should we change the name? And I thought, no, don't go revising history like that. Otherwise, we'll lose the truth. So in a few years, if you did change the name and you called it McClue Street, you know, that's absolutely fine. But you would find that that bit of history that he was putting in about the Lord Provost would just disappear. You know, so I think we need to keep our history and say, no, we did that, but we also know that every other, this doesn't make it right. You know, several wrongs don't make it right, but we know that every other country did it, and we know that slavery started by Africans selling Africans.
Yes, yes. And was it not the British Empire that actually ended a lot of it?
They ended it with the abolition of slavery in 1809, the emancipation of the slaves.
Yeah.
You know, and they got into it pretty sharpish.
Yeah.
You know, and you see the other way to look at it, and this is very interesting, Kareem. I'm very interested in this. The other way to look at it, you're an absolute gem, says Ian the Ranger. Isn't that lovely? The other way to look at it is when the slaves were freed, they had to find things to do by themselves. You know, so suddenly if everybody said, yep, absolutely, you don't have to go to work now, that's you all finished, we would all go, so wait a wee minute, who's paying us? Oh, nobody, no, you're away now, that's you. What you know, what does the world suddenly do? So there was that, and somebody was talking about children, the suffering of children working in markets, and apparently out in India they stopped the wee ones making carpets, and they were heartbroken. They didn't know what they'd done wrong. And there's a big house in Yorkshire. It was a neighbour of mine in Yorkshire, 365 rooms, a calendar house. And there was an old gentleman and his son who used to do the lamps for the house. So they trimmed and filled all the paraffin lamps for lighting for 300 rooms, or how many rooms were open at the time. And somebody came in and said, this poor man works every day. This is disgraceful. Give him days off. And somebody found him in his day off in floods of tears in the lamp room and said, what's wrong, Joseph? He went, I don't know what I've done wrong. They wouldn't let me come to my work. You know, it's all to play for. But the problem, Kareem, what's beautiful about what you and I are doing right now, we're discussing these things. And that Dafty that said there, what's the point in this? The point in this is because there's people like him out there. You know, so I think, yes, renovate the castle, strengthen. I mean, you know, I could scribble you down right now an outstanding manifesto for the future of Scotland, but I'm not a politician. And, you know, and who am I? You know, and all that sort of stuff. But I could scribble that down right now. And what you could also do with the likes of Linlithgow, it's between Edinburgh and Glasgow, get a flat up the top for the First Minister.
Yeah, why not?
Or for the King. You see, the court used to move about. So Dunfermline was the capital of Scotland. Scone was the capital of Scotland. The first king, Kenneth MacAlpin, was from Argyll, Kilmartin, Dunad. He was crowned up what's called Dunad Fort. It's a lovely little hill. Well worth a climb, Kareem, if you're up for it with the dog. Dunad. D-U-N-A-D-D-E.
Brilliant. Well, Scottie, listen, certainly a really informative night tonight, and I'm sure all the listeners have really enjoyed all the information you've given out, and you know, that's what it's all about, you know, just people listening. And
Kareem, it's you, informative from you, because you know what to ask.
Well, thank you, Scottie. Well, listen, once again, thank you for taking my call. Have a great week. DINKY-DOO.
Well, what about, just out of interest, what would you think? Let's go hypothetical here. And we said to the Windsors, listen, Scotland's thinking in going it alone. You know, Nemo me and Pune Lacesset, Edinburgh Castle, the capital, you know, up there. What would you think? You know, if we did split the crowns, and then you're the King of England and the Commonwealth, and we've got our own guy up in Scotland, what would you think? What sort of person would do that? What kind of thing would be expected of the Scottish King?
I don't think King Charles would be too happy with that, to be fair. You know, because I do think the royal family have got a history with Scotland, but if it was to go down that road, you know, I think there'd need to be a lot of discussion and debate. And I think a lot of people here, regardless, we're a country of mourners because we love to mourn about things, but there's a lot of people here that do like the royal family, and they wouldn't want to, you know, to see the back of them, you know. So that I actually don't know the answer to, Scottie. I think it's quite a touchy question for some people.
Oh, it's a big one. Yeah, but we should never run away from touchy things, you know. Here's a lovely guy called Gordon, And he says, break up of the UK if you did that, Scottie. Now, what Gordon's missing is the UK is political. The Crown is British.
Yeah.
There's no such country as Britain. And when I hear the likes of the Prime Minister, I heard it last week. He did it last week. I love this country. And I think, what country are you talking about, PM?
Yeah.
Because we've got 4.
Yeah.
So the UK, if you're breaking up the UK, there's a big force for breaking up the UK because some people think it's just bad news running Scotland from Westminster and running it badly.
Yes, and it's true.
So I don't think there would be too many tears breaking up the UK if you left the crowns intact as one, the British Crown, the British Army.
If Scotland ever gets independence, then for the people that they always claim, well, I'm British, that is not going to change because we are on the landmass of Britain.
You're always going to be British. Always going to be British. Yeah. If you're Scottish, you are British. That's it. There's no way. It's axiomatic, as I say. You can't not be. But again, they are confusing politics with the monarchy. The monarchy is apolitical, the Crown. And really, if we're honest about it, the Crown for many, many years has been the money. Yeah. So whenever they required big, big money, the Crown. Yeah. And if the Crown didn't have it, because the Crown has gone through periods over history of being almost bankrupt.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how tough it's got over the piece.
Well, it's certainly interesting. There'll be a lot more, I'm sure, to come in the coming weeks and months for and against, and you're going to hear on the media and people as well. But I think the monarchy's here to stay. I think people can moan and complain all they want. I don't see it going anywhere.
When people want rid of the monarchy, the next question would be why? If they bring up certain members of the royal family who are not anywhere near the monarchy, although they might be related, then that's a red herring as well.
Okay. Well, interesting stuff, Scottie. Once again, thank you for taking my call and have a great week.
A privilege taking your call, Kareem, and DINKY-DOO, sir.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra-la. There we are. That's our Kareem. Always a good call. McClue Street would also cause confusion with Buccleuch Street round the corner, Scottie. Yes. Well, funnily enough, when we were setting up the Scottie McClue phone-in, there was talk of calling him Scottie Bucclue because Scottie McClue had been the it man. I said, no, that would be a confusion with the Duke of Buccleuch. So I think McClue is a better name. So you're absolutely right. I tell you, the way some people speak McClue and Buccleuch, it's not that far away. Good evening, Scottie, in the chat. I hope you're well. Absolutely, Andy. And a big DINKY-DOO to you, I say to you. Now then, a bit late, Norway has sucked the oil. Ian, there's plenty of oil. In fact, it's probably even more abundant than water. Remember that certain very wealthy Americans had to make the oil look scarce. Once you start drilling in the Clyde, once you start drilling in the Pentland Firth, once you start drilling off the west coast, yes, I tell you, then you will see huge things going on there. Absolutely. So don't be thinking the oil's run out. The oil will be around a lot after the rest of us have been scattered to the winds. So don't be falling for any of that stuff. There we are. If you took to it, would you take in us Welsh? Well, we might. We love the Welsh because they are Celts. You're live on Scotty's phone-in. Who's that?
Scottie, it's Tops Wahey.
Tops Wahey. How are you?
I'm I'm good. Do you want another couple of minutes to deal with admin?
No. All I'm saying, no. Just stay there for 2 seconds. Admin, it's important we save the history for all parts of the country, says Robert. He ordered the Glencoe massacre, King Billy, so there's another reason to get him out. Completely agree. Keeping history true is the only way to learn from it. Good call, Kareem, says Susan. Thanks, Susan, says Kareem. Have a good night. You too, says many parts of Scottish law is set by the devolved unicameral legislature of Scotland. Love this, Robert. I think we can agree neither Westminster or Holyrood can claim they do a great job for the people of Scotland. No, but I think Holyrood have done a pretty good job for the people of Scotland, certainly better than Westminster were doing. And I mean, I'm no empty nationalist, as you know. I love the Welsh, go to South Wales every 2 years, got many friends there. I love them singing. We've already taken the Welsh at rugby today. Yes, but we haven't taken their singing. And the Welsh, okay, but no Cornish. Well, I think the Cornish are lovely as well. Cornwall and Scotland and Wales. And Yorkshire would probably come with us. And certainly the North would come with us, the Northeast and the Northwest. So Carlisle, Newcastle, all the Geordies, Sunderland, all that. So you really just, the Midlands would probably come with us. You'd really just be leaving Westminster with the South.
Well, that's it. I mean, the Midlands would then declare itself an independent kingdom.
Yes.
And you would make Noddy Holder the king, which, by the way, I would be all for.
Oh, we love Noddy. Noddy used to come into the station in Manchester, top man.
If I met Noddy Holder, I would lose control of my bodily functions. Seriously.
Oh well, maybe that's not a good idea.
Certainly not for Noddy. Well, listen, you pointed out an educated.
Oh, you've gone funny.
Oh, well, I've gone funny, not again.
Yes, that's right. Yes, without trying tonight.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, you just sound as if you were talking underwater.
Well, maybe I might have, Scotty. I might have extra interest that you're not aware of.
Here's somebody saying Amy is saying we love Cornish pastries. I think he means pasties.
Oh, that'll be a pasty, my lipper.
Angela Wellness is sending me red roses. Is that not beautiful?
Yes. But Kareem, as you said, had an educated and informed call. So I thought, well, I'm going to do an uneducated and uninformed call.
You couldn't do uneducated if you tried.
Well, listen, what I was going to say.
You're a scholar, remember.
Yeah, well, I'll deal with this delicately because it's been a strange week. Not particularly strange, but last Saturday in our call, I mentioned a fellow YouTuber who I'm very fond of.
Yes.
He's not a massive influencer. You said, well, we don't advertise channels and so on, but because I mentioned his artist name, he's not a massive influencer. There is a point that this does link to you, Scotty, right? He's not got a massive following or anything like that. He's not 2 million and he's not flogging, I don't know, butt lifts or anything like that, right? He's a bit of a genius.
Yes.
He's a bit of a genius. He's half musician and half inventor, but he's not got a massive following. I kind of know him. Now, this is the weirdest thing. I woke up on Tuesday morning and he is now the United Kingdom's entry for Eurovision this year, right?
Wow, fantastic. Well, what we do, the reason I'm like that is because we're a small group, relatively speaking, and on the radio, we just didn't do second names because you didn't want to identify anybody. So we never did second names. That's why people could phone and say, "Hi, Scotty, it's Daft Jimmy." And we never said, "Sorry, what's your proper name, Jimmy?" But sometimes people would say their name and I would have to cut them off because we didn't know what they were going to say next. We also don't mention businesses, and we also have to watch that people don't libel somebody even,
Yeah, I understand. Maybe me mentioning even in the couch terms that I've done now, you'll probably get people saying, "Oh, he's crap," and you know. And
yeah, yes, but you can't. It's just if you've mentioned somebody, then it becomes a different call. So so I have, over the last 33 years, taken calls from people with virtually no identity, no second name, and we don't even know exactly where they're calling from. So somebody might ring me now and go, "Scottie, it's John from the Wirral. Can I say to you about your monarchy debate there?" Yeah, now that's great, because nobody can say that John so-and-so from the Wirral. I'll tell you who he is, and he shouldn't have been allowed on, and blah, blah, blah. You don't have any of that. And therefore it makes for a much cleaner product. And then people, nobody's, I mean, sometimes I've even had to take the whole show and just dump it, you know, because something had to be edited out or that sort of thing.
No, I'm aware of that. I mentioned somebody a couple of months ago, and I noticed that you clipped it, so I understand that. I'm trying to not break the rules. But anyway, the point.
No, and you're very good. You're a very smart man. So I mean, it should just be a walk in the park for you.
That's very kind of you. It's good. But it wasn't just to blow my own.
I think we'll call it a trumpet, if that's okay with you.
I was going to say something. I thought there's got to be something better than that. But it's not just to clear. I'm not claiming that me mentioning this guy on your channel last Saturday meant that he was selected for Eurovision. But I'm thinking, if he can do it, and he's not a massive influencer, and he's not a cyborg created for the media, right? He's a real genuine genius guy, right? But if he can get selected for Eurovision, Scottie, next year, get a box.
Yeah.
Right? Eurovision next year.
Your next Eurovision's going to be done in the wee room from Glasgow, Scottie McClue.
Exactly. I could totally see you with all the pyrotechnics here in the box.
We love it. We love it. But I'll tell you, I was watching. I've come across these incredible videos. Now the voices are a bit AI, so they're a bit tedious. But the knowledge that is coming out is absolutely outstanding. And today I was watching one about the guy that invented tires, Dunlop. And you know, but very quickly, what all it was his son had a trike, a little tricycle with solid tires, and the cobbles, going over the cobbles, was it in Manchester? Can't remember. But the child was finding this not just the most pleasant experience, so his dad decided to wrap a rubber tube round and put air in it. And the only thing is, although they kept the name Dunlop right up until now, he was out of it very, very quickly. And it's one of these things that you could put your name to something, and you know.
I would point out you've just mentioned a trade name, Scottie, so you're going to have to block yourself, I'm afraid.
No, I'll be all right with that, because I've mentioned it and I know what I'm doing. I have an element, not too much, but I'm an element of faith in myself.
Well, you're a safe pair of hands, Scottie. I've always said a safe pair of hands.
A safe pair of hands. It's very funny, because when I used to apply, if somebody was setting up a television or radio station, and I would say to them, safe pair of hands. And I think that probably just triggered them and freaked them. Why do you want this job? Well, I feel that after 25 years, Scottie McClue is a safe pair of hands. And they go, bah!
It just makes me think about 1970s BBC radio presenters when you say that. But anyway, I don't have too much to talk about. I've got...
Here's Harry says, was it not the pneumatic tire Dunlop invented? Harry, that's what we've just been saying. You are correct.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to talk about birching by cops.
Oh, yes.
I suspect what I was going to say is linked to why you blocked somebody. It's just there's a lot of female cops nowadays, and I suspect
I see where you're going. Thank you.
I suspect you might encourage.
No, I think probably.
Right?
Yes. I think that would have to be watched. But well, it's a bit like in the old days, caning at schools. And, they worked out that this was one thing, teaching the young person a lesson, punishing them, but you had to be terribly careful that, there wasn't a problem further up the line,
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school when they banned the belt.
Uh-huh.
And discipline really did disintegrate. But at the same time, now I look at teachers nowadays and I think, if I had kids, would I want any of them to have the right to actually physically assault my kid? And absolutely not.
No.
I mean, if you've got entire trust in every teacher in the world, but there were a bunch of absolute nutcases.
Well, as you know, I mean, you could look sideways at the teacher and get a slap across the face. A big teacher could take you out, got you by the hair and drag you into the corridor and absolutely berate you. Now, when I've spoken to people about this, they've said, "Whoa, did you not want to batter them back?" I said, "Listen, these guys had been commandos in World War II.
Yeah.
These people had been flying Spitfires and driving submarines." But my favorite teacher ever, who could do everything with his voice, my favorite teacher ever, he said to me, we were talking one night after he'd retired, he said, "Do you know, I only once struck a boy and I regretted it terribly." Isn't that beautiful?
Well, yeah, it's lovely. I remember, and this would be in the mid-'80s, and one of the deputy heads, and he had a reputation, and as he left the room, one of the guys who was a bit of a wiseacre, I think is the term, and he said something pretty innocuous as he was leaving the door, and he came back in, and he said, "Who said that?" And the guy fessed up. And this guy made it a point, this deputy head made it a point of coming back into the class and saying, "I have just left that boy lying on the floor in my office." And you think, you try that with a real man now, sunshine, right? It's easy to beat up, 12-year-old boys. But you just, I'd love a time machine. I'd go back and, my goodness, I'd give him a poke in the jobs.
No, I think what we've got to do as a society now is say that now we are in the business of education and not punishment, And here's the wonderful Murray. Our geography teacher used to hit us in the head with an encyclopedia. My favorite one was a teacher thrust a ruler at a boy and said, "Boy, there is an idiot on the end of this ruler." And the boy said, "Which end, sir?"
Well, listen, Scott, we're getting close to the end. Oh,
what a shame. Loved talking to you. Ta-ra-la.
Right. Take care, Scott.
And you. There we are. The wonderful Tuts were here. Always a fascinating call, I tell you. Harry says he got the belts in nearly every class. He deserved it. It was better than telling his dad. I'm 44. They banned the belt just before I started school, so Amy, but the teachers still hit you when they smacked you and slapped you on the head. Not too good for you, because the head is the bit that we're wanting to encourage the knowledge. So we do not want to cause any damage to the head. And I think our young people nowadays are tremendous for manners and respect. We need to sort certain things out, the knife crime, all that sort of idea. Good banter as always, says Alan. Thank you, Alan. And we are sadly out of time. Good night. God bless. DINKY-DOO. And ta-ra, lads. Stick out your tongue. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Isn't that wonderful? And my dear lovely people, I say to you, ta-ta, and thank you so much for joining us. Dinky-Doo. Papa.